Hello everyone and welcome into your special Leap Day reading. Today is Tuesday, February 29th, and we're going to be doing a more in-depth type of read than our normal daily read since it is Leap Day. And this day is seen for a lot of people as being spiritually significant and also just in general fun because it's something different. But with the 29th of February, you have your 29 breaking down into 11, which is about spiritual awakening and growth and enlightenment. And then February, for 2, that's looking at kind of like your soul purpose and your mission. So a lot of times this kind of 229 portal is seen as an opportunity to really dig deeper into that and kind of leap forward or propel yourself forward on your spiritual path. So the way I'm going to do this reading is I'll do the general energy of the collective like I usually do. I'll pull a couple extra cards. Normally I do 3, but I'll pull a few extras, and then I'm going to do a spread and pull some cards individually for each sign. I am going to do it sign grouping by sign grouping instead of going through the calendar, and then that way when I have it flagged, it'll be easier to kind of skip ahead to your section. So let's go ahead and see what all different fun energies we have going on today for Leap Day. All right, overall energy within the collective. We have our Queen of Swords in reverse, 8 of Cups in reverse, the Chariot, and 6 of Pentacles. So, okay, with our Queen of Swords in reverse, there's going to be some kind of little bit of this maybe cynicism or bitterness. So usually the Queen of Swords is about kind of slicing away all of the BS. And that's usually more from like a position of power or open-mindedness, like, okay, let's just get through all of that. But this is almost a little bit of that edge of, I'll call it bitterness to that. Like, yeah, we're cutting away all of this because you know what? Things are just ridiculous. So there's like a bitterness, a cynicism that kind of goes with that. Your 8 of Cups in reverse, this is that energy of feeling like you're stuck. So we'll see, and that you're avoiding change. And so we're going to see how this plays out with each of the individual sign groupings. But, the energy here can feed off of each other. Like if you feel like you're stuck and that you've been stuck for a long time, it's easy to see how you'd get pushed into this little bit of this like bitter, cynical energy. Like, oh my gosh, I've been stuck here for so long. What do you expect? That I'm just going to be stuck with a happy smile on my face? So there's a little bit of that energy of kind of being jaded and again, feeling stuck. So your Chariot, though, is about overcoming obstacles, and that's going to be some fast-moving energy about how do we overcome some of these obstacles. With your 6 of Pentacles, this is an energy of like generosity and giving. So it looks like that's going to be what's helping you overcome these obstacles, is more of that generous giving type of energy. So, so that's kind of what's out there at the collective level. And so we're going to take a look and see then how that plays out with the individual sign groupings. And so with this, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. So I'm going to spread these out and just start pulling cards. And then I will do some oracle cards as well. So let's see. And in the middle, I may, depending on how many cards I end up pulling, I may end up pausing and reshuffling the deck and doing it so that we're not down to the bottom dregs. All right, so let's start with our air signs. So we'll start with Gemini and we'll pull a couple cards here. So we've got this one, and this is the Hanged Man. And then we've got the Magician in reverse. And we'll pull one more. And this is the 8 of Swords in reverse. So, with the Hanged Man, remember that's going to be that kind of self-imposed period of reflection. And then with the Magician in reverse, there's that sense of feeling like you're being not necessarily manipulated, but like your skills aren't being used, like you're being overlooked. So there's this sense of feeling like, is what I'm doing even mattering? Like it's not being noticed, it's not being appreciated. And so it kind of puts you into that sense of like reflection and processing that, like, why is it that I feel that way? Your Eight of Swords in reverse, and this one actually has Gemini in the corner there, that, this Eight of Swords in reverse, this is about breaking free from what, I guess, where you thought you were trapped. So when we're looking at like our Eight of Cups in reverse, that you feel like you're stuck and that's making you bitter and cynical, what's happening then specifically for you, Gemini, is you're looking at breaking out of that. Like, you're tired of sitting in that energy, because when you're in that energy, and it makes you feel like you're not really being appreciated, like your talents aren't being used, like I'm just sitting over here and I'm not doing anything, like I'm not contributing, I feel like I'm not really part of the team. And so with some reflection, then it looks like you are breaking out of that. And so, especially as it comes in here, as we partner some of this up with the Six of Pentacles energy, where you feel like your talents are being wasted, like you're not being appreciated for what your contributions are. It's that sense of, okay, I'm being very generous with, this doesn't necessarily mean financial generosity. It's anything that's your pentacles, any of your resources. So if you feel like you're contributing all of this energy and money, or not money, energy, time, effort, and it's just not really being picked up. It's not really, you feel like you're kind of being overlooked. But you're overcoming that and you're breaking out of feeling like, oh, I'm trapped in this situation where I'm not being appreciated. So there is a little bit, there's that sense of, okay, that's where I was, but I'm getting out of it. So let's take a look and see, and we'll see if these cards give any indication or if I need to pull another one. Is it a matter of removing yourself from that situation, or is it a matter of internally changing the way you're looking at it, or influencing that situation to modify what you have versus getting out of it? Success. I know that there is no greater goal than to love. And so with that, this is that energy of generosity. So if you're feeling overlooked, sometimes it's a matter of whatever the situation is, the other force there, whether it's another person, whether it's a job, experience, they are not able to reciprocate right now, but you're still leading with love instead of letting it turn into this bitterness of, well, you know what, done. I'm not going to try, so you're leading with love, and that's going to help you overcome those obstacles. This is your sign from the universe. That's what jumped out there. This is your sign from the universe. And I'll pull one too. Who's fighting for your inner child? So a couple of things there. I would say this card of this is your sign from the universe. I feel like these are kind of all going, and I'm noticing how much this matches my sweater right now too. But just in terms of giving generously from a loving standpoint, like all of this kind of goes together energetically. It's all going together. And it's also the matter of who's fighting for your inner child. So when we're talking about using your energy in a loving way, and that's kind of going to be your greatest success, part of it is also loving your inner child, like making sure that you're not in a position where you feel like you're unappreciated and being taken advantage of. You have to stand up for your inner child, because otherwise you're just going to be left in this position of kind of bitterness. So there is a matter of standing up for your inner child, and then also doing it with this air of love about it. And so that's what's going to help you overcome these obstacles. It's what's going to help you overcome this feeling of being stuck. So make sure that you're loving your inner child and that you're leading with love as you get yourself unstuck from the situation you're stuck in. So that was for Gemini. Let's go Gemini, Libra. And we have our Ten of Swords in reverse. We have our Ace of Wands in reverse. And we have our Two of Swords. So your Ten of Swords in reverse, it's like you're turning a corner. And again, this feeling of being stuck and it's making you bitter. You're turning a corner, and you're turning it quickly, like you're overcoming this obstacle of feeling like you're stuck in whatever that situation is. Because there's kind of this like lack of creativity. Where you are right now is leaving you feeling like this lack of creativity, and you just feel stuck, like you're in a rut. With your Two of Swords energy coming in here, this is about having, like, being at a crossroads, having a decision to make. Do you want to, it's kind of that sense of, do you want to stay stuck in a rut, or are you moving in a different direction? Are you changing your path? And I think especially on Leap Day, as we're looking at, making these spiritual leaps forward and having that kind of sense of spiritual awakening and what is your soul path, with this crossroads, you'll be put in a situation, or a situation will develop around you where you'll be given a very good opportunity to move down a different path. So sometimes with the Two of Swords energy, and with this one being a ghost, it's almost like there's this blanket over your face. So you may not be able to see everything clearly, and you feel like, oh, I'm making this decision, in the regular Rider-Waite decks, the person's blindfolded, kind of like, I know I have to make this decision, but I don't feel like I have all the answers. So some of that is this sense of, yeah, but what isn't feeling good. What this lack of creativity is doing to you. So that's what's kind of guiding you, is even if you can't clearly see what the other path is that you want to take, if you can see the path you don't want to be on, sometimes that's enough. And kind of having that faith in divine, that there's another path that's emerging, even if you can't fully see it. So let's take a look at Soul Journey card for our Libra. Courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. So again, that's that whole thing of, you may not be able to see exactly what both of the options look like. So some of it too is when you're blindfolded, when you take away being able to see what's out there, you are left with a sense of relying on what you feel inside of you about these options. So when you take away one sense, the other one's heightened. It's kind of that. So when you're looking at, you can feel that one of the options just kind of feels. And if you're feeling stuck, kind of close your eyes and take that part out of it and go within. What feels right? What feels good at a soul level? Which one brings your soul peace? All right. If you're doing it with all your heart, you will succeed. So if there's fear that's keeping you from going down one, like the path that you feel like is bringing you peace, know that if you're doing it from your soul space, from your heart space, you're going to find success in it, because part of it is that will bring you a sense of joy and contentment, that you're in alignment with your heart, you're in alignment with your soul. So that in and of itself is going to help bring you success. But remember, sometimes you just need to close your eyes when you're making that decision and rely on your intuition, rely on that voice for what feels good, what feels like the right choice. So that is what we have for Libra. Let's look at Aquarius. We have our King of Swords. Trying to make sure I get it from a glare perspective where you can see it. So we have our King of Swords. We have our Three of Wands. And we have our Wheel of Fortune in reverse. That's a pretty terrible one. The guy's like bent over on the rack. So your King of Swords energy is going to be this like disciplined type of energy coming in. And there's this sense of wanting to grow, wanting freedom, and you want to be able to travel. So if you feel like you've been stuck and it's making you bitter and kind of cynical, get out of that rut. Have the discipline to be able to say, I'm not going to let myself keep wallowing. I need to move along. So this, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, that's going to be this energy of feeling like there's all of these delays and bad luck and misfortune, and it's a tough card. So this is one of those things where I think this is feeding into feeling stuck in a rut. Like you feel like there's just no way out of this, and it's almost like something something dramatic might trigger it for you to say, hey, you know what? I'm done. I'm tired of being in this rut. Something really bad happened, like worse than normal, and I'm just done. I'm overcoming it, and I need to move myself into a better position. So it does look like the way to move yourself into that better position in terms of overcoming these obstacles is that King of Swords energy. It is that Three of Wands. It's, you know, having that authority and discipline, which is more of a masculine energy than this kind of like loving, generous, caring type of energy that we have with our Six of Pentacles. So you do have both of them coming into play, but in order, I think, to overcome that initial hump, to break you out of it, is going to be that more authority, discipline. No, I'm getting out of it, and I'm going to make myself stay, like having that discipline I'm going to make myself stay on this path, because, you know, maybe you've gotten pulled in from a, you know, feeling stuck because it's like, oh, you are giving, you are being very generous. So specifically with Aquarius, it almost comes across like you've been too much in the Six of Pentacles, and the King of Swords is coming in and saying, no, you need to go in this direction. So let's pull a couple oracle cards for Aquarius. See what comes up. Guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. So this guilt card is what's keeping you stuck in this rut. So again, it's keeping you giving and giving, but it's keeping you stuck in that rut where you kind of just keep looping. And actually, even with this guilt card, you have the swirling pattern, like, okay, you just keep looping through the same cycle, like you're making the same decisions over and over because you feel guilty about standing up for yourself, and you feel guilty about saying, this is what I want, this is what makes my soul happy, this is what feels like it's in alignment with my path and direction. But you're going to have this King of Swords energy coming in and your Three of Wands energy coming in saying, no, let's travel, let's move on, let's have this freedom. I want to be able to grow. And especially on the 29th, you know, with the leap day, that's kind of this push for growth. So you're going to feel a little bit more of that energy today. Stop making excuses for them or for it. And this one goes perfectly with guilt. With the oranges and the blues there, that you've been essentially guilted into feeling stuck, because then there you have the oranges and blues. You've been feeling guilted into staying in a situation that is not allowing for your growth, that's not allowing for your soul to thrive and to develop. And so the King of Swords is kind of stepping in and saying, nope, this is what we're doing. You can't stay here any longer, and kind of pushing for that travel and for that growth. The way the light is hitting off those cards, it's like spotlight. So I'll have to move those to a slightly different spot on the table. So that's what we have for Aquarius. So that was our water signs. Now let's move on to our fire signs. So that's going to be our Aries, Leo, Sag, and we'll go through them in that order, and we'll see what messages want to come through for you on Leap Day. So let's start with Aries. We have the Emperor in reverse, and actually that is, I don't know if you can see very well, that is Aries right there. So we have Emperor in reverse. Two cards came out here, Knight of Swords and Queen of Swords. And since those two stuck together, I will pull one more. So we have Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords. And then we have Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So with that Knight energy, there's, movement with the Knights. And we did have, the Chariot is about movement and overcoming obstacles. So sorry about that. I need to go get a quick drink here. So as we're looking at it for Aries, we have this this Emperor in reverse energy. It's really bright over there. So we have this Emperor in reverse energy, and that's going to be, instead of it being kind of this divine masculine balance type of energy, it's almost more like a little bit of that chaotic masculine energy, like this rigidity and kind of domination, like this is what we're doing. Your Knight of Swords is going to be that, all right, come on, let's get it done. So, this guy's like leaping in there, sword ready to just go slashing away. We have our Queen of Swords energy, which at the collective level, we had Queen of Swords in reverse. But this Queen of Swords energy is this like independent, open-minded, but, let's just cut away all the nonsense. Let's just get down to brass tacks. And then with our Knight of Pentacles in reverse energy, there's a little bit of this kind of like dull, lazy energy almost. So normally it's about like hard work and patience and everything, but in the reverse, it's kind of like, so I think this Knight of Pentacles in reverse is coming out from the perspective of, you're feeling kind of like burned out and that you're stuck in a rut. And so I think if you've been trying to get out of that rut and you haven't been able to successfully get out of that rut, it's kind of that energy of, I'm just tired. I'm just tired of it. So that seems to go very, very strongly with this sense of being stuck in that rut, and kind of it's making you a little bit like bitter and lazy and unmotivated. But then, this other level of energy coming in, and it's very, I would say for Aries, this is, I'll call it more hyper masculine type of energy. So over here at the collective level, there is this energetic push of like this loving, kind, caring, generous type of energy. But I think with the way it's coming through for Aries is that's what's kept you feeling stuck in this rut. This like, I'm looking out for other people. I'm trying to do what's right for everybody else. And I think that's kind of come full circle of saying, you know what? I've tried this for a significant amount of time. I'm just done. And then that, like I said, kind of almost that like hyper masculine energy is coming in, and it's coming in fast. It's, you know what? I tried this other approach for long enough. It's not working. This is what we're doing, So for Aries, kind of some of that swift action of let's just get it done. Humor. I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. So just because you have this, I'll call it driven, focused push to get yourself out of this situation, also make sure that you have some of that lighthearted humor in there so that you don't totally let yourself get iced over in this process. And we also have you're misreading this situation. So, this seems to go along more with this card over here, that you've been putting all this love and emphasis on everybody else, and that's what you've been dumping into the situation, but that hasn't gotten you any results. And so now the next level of energy that's coming in for you is this, like I said, kind of almost hyper masculine energy of, all right, let's just move things forward. So that's what's coming through for Aries. Let's take a look at Leo. 5 of Cups. King of Wands. And 9 of Cups. So you've got some good Cups energy coming in here. You've got this sense of like grief and sadness. So you have this mermaid here who's looking kind of sad on the rocks, I guess. So you have some sadness coming in. Your 9 of Cups, though, is about like contentment and achievement, and you're finding some of your blessings are starting to come through for you. And then with your King of Wands energy, that's this sense of like you're meeting your challenges. So meeting your challenges and overcoming some of your obstacles. And there is going to be some sadness that goes along with getting yourself out of the rut. But if you are approaching it in this heart space, and approaching it with a sense of love, that's what's going to be what is getting you out of kind of that rut, that feeling of, bitterness. So the message for Leos is to focus on the love aspect of it. and let that pull you out of your rut. Gratitude. I'm thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. So even if you're, I feel like the greens are speaking here, that having gratitude and showing that with love, and that sense of gratitude is going to help you overcome some of these obstacles. So a lot of it with this life is realizing that what is happening for you is there to be able to teach you lessons. It's to be there to help you grow, to help you overcome these obstacles. And that's really why you're here. So if you can look at it through this lens of, okay, I'm being pushed to grow as a person. It may not be comfortable. I may not like the way it feels right now, but I understand that it's here for me to grow, that it's here as a lesson for me. That will help you move through it faster rather than dwelling on the, oh, why me? Why me? Why is this happening? And call in your spirit guides to help. And those are calling out to me. And calling in your spirit guides is going to help bring in these blessings that are over here. I don't know, the light might be hitting it funny, but like the colors of the Kraken are like the same colors over here. So call in your spirit guides, call in your soul tribe to help you, and that will help push you through these lessons faster, and they'll help give you the support and that feeling of love and confidence. So that was for our Leos. Let's take a look for Sagittarius. What messages want to come through? Seven of Wands, the Mummy. Queen of Pentacles, Dryad. I don't know what that one is. Queen of Pentacles there. And Seven of Cups, Nessie. So your Seven of Cups is going to be, there's like this indecisiveness, like you have too many choices, and trying to figure out what direction to go because you have too many choices. Your Queen of Pentacles energy is going to be some of this like luxury and nurture and comfort. So it's like you're in a comfortable space, or you're trying to make choices that are going to put you in this comfortable space. But then it's this Seven of Wands. So that's like this stamina and perseverance. And so it's like, you know where you want to go, and you can see where it is. You can see that there's that luxury and that comfort that comes with it, because right here you're uncomfortable. You're bitter, you're stuck in a rut, you're not comfortable. And so you're wanting to move yourself in that direction of the comfort. And it's for Sagittarius, it's like you can see it, and you know what you need to do, and it's just going to take more concerted effort. Goodness, the sun is crazy today. And it's just going to take more concerted effort to bring you into that space. But you'll be able to do it quickly and just approach the situation with love, because even if you're turning your back on a situation that's not serving you, you don't have to do it with bitterness. You can still do it with love, and you can still have that peaceful interaction, even if you have to change a certain situation or circumstance. So yes, I had to scoot over because there's a window up there and the light's coming straight down in. And I mean, as you can see with these cards, I mean, they're super shiny, glossy cards. So right in my eyes. All right, so let's take a look at Soul Journey cards for Sagittarius. Acceptance. I'm learning to accept the things that I cannot change. And so that's part of it, in terms of, as you address this being stuck in a rut, you can address it with love. And some of it is that acceptance. If you've been sitting in this space for so long, and it's like, well, no, this has got to change. It's got to change. It may not. And so part of this card of acceptance is realizing that you can't always change the situation, but what you can always do is change yourself. You can change the way you interact with the situation. You can change that experience for yourself. And with this Seven of Cups, there is this sense of indecisiveness and like daydreaming, and you need to make a choice. And sometimes that's hard if you feel like there's too many options, but accept that some of the things won't be choices anymore. Like if it's not working for you, you can't change other people. You can possibly inspire them to change themselves, but you can't actually change other people. So part of it is, as you're moving on from that sense of being stuck, like, you don't want to be in that cruel, bitter energy. So how do you change yourself and how you interface with that situation or remove that situation? So this one came in, tap into your creative side. So that one jumped. And remember, you chose this lesson. So before you incarnated here, you chose what lessons you wanted to learn. Think about it like school, you know, a syllabus or a course catalog. You get to choose what your lessons are, and you chose this lesson. So remember that when you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck. You chose it. So your soul or your higher self or your higher consciousness is pushing you to grow. How are you growing? If you're staying stuck in a rut where you're just doing the same thing over and over again and not being happy, do you think you chose that for yourself? Probably not. So try to remember that when you're figuring out what you need to do to change your situation. All right. So now let's move on to our earth signs. And we will start with Taurus. 4 of Cups. Justice in reverse. And the High Priestess. So, for Taurus, with your 4 of Cups, there's kind of the sense of like gloom and apathy. And so that's really with your 8 of Cups and your in reverse and Queen of Swords in reverse. Those are really going together. Like, you feel like you're stuck in this rut, and it's just, you know, you're bitter and cynical, and you just kind of have this gloomy take on life in general right now. You're feeling like things are out of balance, like that you're just not getting this sense of justice coming in. You feel like things are, you know, you're experiencing bad fortune, and it's almost this little bit of like, woe is me. So with the High Priestess coming in, this is about that inner wisdom, that kind of divine feminine, higher power, consciousness, like that sort of thing. So what's missing here is it's very much this 3D energy of, you know, things aren't fair, and what you're being pushed to do is you need to overcome that. And the way that you're going to overcome that situation, Taurus, is with love and generosity. And it's tapping into this inner wisdom, what is the purpose of all of this? So remember, you're here to learn lessons. And if you're stuck in this 3D attitude, 3D mindset, of, you know, like, oh, woe is me, and I'm just stuck. I can't do anything. I'm stuck. The vast majority of the time when people say they're stuck, it's because they've told themselves they're stuck. You may not like what you have to do to get out of the situation, but you're not as stuck as you're telling yourself that you are. So the way out of your rut is through love. It's through having that inner wisdom, that divine feminine, higher consciousness, like bringing that in to say, okay, what is the purpose of all of this? The purpose of me incarnating here isn't to sit here and be miserable. So what do I need to do? How do I need to change this situation? Like, change myself and be true to myself, because with that inner wisdom, higher consciousness, that's also alignment. It's alignment with your soul purpose, alignment with your mission, alignment, you know, kind of body, mind, soul. And that's that sort of energy. And once you're in alignment, you have that creative, loving, nurturing flow of energy from you, but you have to get into alignment first. And if you're too busy, you know, woe is meing, you're not going to be able to get into that alignment. You're not going to be able to see it. And that's your way out of your rut. So the card here was service. I feel good when I can help others. And this is going to go along with this generous 6 of Pentacles energy, you know, giving to other people, and rather than the focus on self. All right. And let's pull one of these for Taurus. You are closer to your goals than you think. So, you know, keep having that focus on love and giving, and let that shift your mindset. Let that shift how you're interacting with the world around you, as opposed to focusing on what you don't have. So remember, focus on what you do have and where you're going, and you're actually closer than you think that you are. So Virgo is next. Let's spread these out a little bit more. Virgo, Six of Wands in reverse. Ace of Cups in reverse, as I'm bobbling it. And Judgment in reverse. So, so this has some, this air of disappointment or arrogance with it, that, you know, you thought you were going in the right direction. You thought that, you know, that things were going to work out a certain way, and they didn't. And it's leaving you kind of feeling unloved, feeling, you know, unappreciated, feeling like this sense of loss. And so this is definitely all going together, and that's what's contributing to that kind of bitterness and feeling like you're in a rut. And with the Judgment card in reverse, that's that sense of, you know, you have a lot of doubt. You have a lot of, I'll call it, lack of faith in the universe. But there's also this sense of failing to learn from the past. So, you know, the Judgment card, you can see it down there, is number 20 in the major arcana. And that, you know, that is right at the end of of the major arcana, right before the World card. And so that's about, did you learn the lesson? You know, if we relate this to you're taking classes, like in life, your lessons are, hey, this is the class that I decided to take. Judgment in reverse is like, but you didn't learn. Like, you're sitting in the final exam and you didn't score. Like, I hate to use the word fail, but you didn't score high enough to pass the test. You're going to have to loop. You're going to have to do another lesson. So that's what kind of the whole failing to learn from the past is. If you haven't learned from the past and you haven't made those changes and incorporated them, you're just going to keep looping, and you're going to keep going through the same lessons over and over. So you're feeling like you're stuck, and you, to some extent, you kind of are a little bit, because you're not learning from the past. So you need to call in that higher self, that inner wisdom, to help get you out of that. You need to call in that sense of love and generosity. You know, let's do it from this deck. Let's pull a couple more cards for, this is Virgo, making sure I'm doing the right one, because it does look like it's more feelings of despair than the other ones that we've gone through so far. So let's pull a couple more clarifying cards. What do our Virgos need to hear right now? So we have our King of Cups in reverse, and we have our Two of Swords in reverse. So you're feeling like you're being manipulated, and you're worried and you're stressed out about it. And then with our Two of Swords in reverse, it's like you feel like you kind of have this lack of direction, like you don't know where to go. There's no good choices, and you know, you're blindfolded there. So with the Two of Swords, and in most decks it's like that, the Two of Swords, the person's blindfolded, like they feel like they don't have enough information. They can't make these decisions. So whatever this situation is, and usually during tarot readings, part of it is connecting you with your intuition. So immediately at the beginning, when I said you feel like you're stuck, what was the first thing that came to mind when I was saying that? Where are you stuck? What are you stuck? Are you stuck in a miserable job that you hate? Are you stuck in a relationship that's imbalanced where you're not happy? Are you stuck in the crossfire of a, you know, crummy family dynamic where you feel like you have to choose sides? Whatever it is where you're feeling stuck, you feel like you're being manipulated, and that it's leaving you with no good choices, like, you know, trying to choose the lesser of two evils type of scenario. So denial. I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. So in terms of with the denial part, something that maybe needs a little bit more thought is if you are choosing, the lesser of two evils, you feel like I can either do this or I can do this, rather than looking at them as external things. I'm choosing this person or this person. I'm choosing this scenario or that scenario. Always choose yourself. Always look at what is serving my highest good and then back into the decision from there. And it could be that you are not making a choice because of fear. You're afraid of hurting one person or another. You're afraid of, if it's a job thing, maybe you're afraid you're going to lose your job if you speak up for yourself and I can't not have a job, but you have more options or ability to sway the situation than you think. And this says, release your need to control the situation. So it could be a matter of, as you're looking at, I don't really have any choices. If it's because you want to be able to see, if I make this choice, then X, Y, Z happens, which leads me to A, B, C. Therefore, I will get to this destination. Some of it's a matter of, connecting with divine, connecting with your inner self and saying, okay, I trust in the divine. I can't see where I'm going, but I can't grip onto this situation so tight. I need to release control and have faith that things are going to work out the way that they're supposed to. So that was our message there for Sagittarius. So I think I just said Sagittarius. This was Virgo. I had to go back through and count. I had lost track there. So that was our message for Virgo. Now we are moving on to Capricorn. And the sun changed, so I can sit back here. So Capricorn, what other messages need to come through for you? We have our Five of Swords in reverse. We have our Ten of Cups. And we have the Devil. All right, so with our Five of Swords in reverse, there is this sense of like compromise and coming to some sort of a resolution. The Ten of Cups, for some readers, that's a big twin flame like celebration type of card. So your Ten of Cups, that's that abundance, that's that harmony, that's that peace and bliss. But then we also still have the Devil card in here. So in terms of feeling like you're stuck in a rut and kind of into that bitter, cruel energy, know that that is the Devil energy. It's for you, Capricorn, that is things that are trying to keep you away from your blessings. So the Devil energy is butting up against your Ten of Cups, which is your abundance, and it's butting up against your Five of Swords in reverse, which is about finding that resolution. So there's some factor, there's some force in play that is keeping you from being able to move into your highest good. So you may know what that is, but if you can identify what is the Devil energy that is keeping you kind of locked out of your blessings right now, then combating that with love, with your Six of Pentacles, this generosity and this giving, using that to overcome this Devil energy will help clear these obstacles. It will bring you into that sense of abundance. So some of it is a matter of, do you know what that Devil energy is? Can you step back? Can you, zoom out and see what is it that's keeping me from my happiness? What's keeping me stuck? And then we have our health card. I will honor the physical vessel that enshrines my soul. So this is that good reminder, and it could be, that could be some of that Devil energy. If you're, I don't know, taking drugs, if you're overeating, maybe that's part of that Devil energy is, I just don't feel like doing anything. So you're just eating. And that one kind of popped into mind because even though this is a card about generosity, look at him with that little devil smile and looking at the plate of cookies. So, it could be that that's something that you're struggling with, is overeating. And hey, if something's wrong, I'm going to make myself feel better with food. So make sure that you're honoring the physical vessel. There's so much focus, like when you're on a spiritual ascension journey, it's like, my soul, and it's kind of like, ugh, the ego, oh, the physical body. Well, it's all together. You can't be dissing and dumping on, your physical body, but talking about how spiritual you are, because that's your physical body is the house. It's the house that your soul resides in right now. You need to put in more effort. So some of this, even if you're feeling like with this Eight of Cups, like you're stuck in a rut, some of it is it's going to take some effort. It's going to take some hard work to get out of it. But on the other side of it, you have your blessings. You have your abundance coming in. Like with your Ten of Cups, you have that abundance coming in if you put in the effort. If you put in the effort to find what the resolution is, find what your solution is, and that's going to be what's getting you over that obstacle. So that is the message for Capricorns. Next, we have our water signs. So that is going to be our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So we will start with Cancer. The Sun in reverse. Knight of Cups. And over here, Six of Swords in reverse. So with your Knight of Cups energy, has this element of like artistry and negotiation and, hey, let's find a solution. Let's try to diplomatically maneuver our way through it. We have our Six of Swords in reverse energy, and that's going to be, there's some resistance to positive change. And with the Sun in reverse, that's really about, like, there's a sense of pessimism, that you haven't gotten your blessings, that you haven't gotten all of this great abundance that you thought. So if you're trying to bridge this gap, like there's a sense of feeling that pessimism, which I would say is going with this being stuck in a rut, and having that cynical, bitter type of energy, like the Queen of Swords in reverse. So those are kind of going together, kind of creating this loop over here of I feel like I have gotten locked out of my blessing, so it's making me more and more bitter, which is keeping me stuck in this rut of nothing good happens to me. And so it's kind of that downward spiral. But with the Six of Swords in reverse and the Knight of Cups, it's like the Knight of Cups is coming in trying to say, okay, what can we do? Like, how can we get past this? So that's coming in with this Chariot energy of how do we overcome these obstacles? So there is some of that push of, okay, but I want to get past this. And, then so for Cancer, for you, that's like, okay, there is that energy. If we want to get past it, we need to have some sort of negotiation of how do I get out of this rut? And so that's something that your rut involves another person, like, or the situation, whether it's a work situation, family situation, romantic partnership, it involves somebody else. So you're going to have discussions with it. It's not, or with that person, people, whatever dynamic that is for you. But there's going to have to be some discussions. Like, you can't do this all on your own. You're going to have to reach across and let things come in that are supposed to come in. So sometimes with this resisting positive change, it's a matter of, the universe is trying to send you something good, send you something better. They're trying to throw you a rope, a lifeline, like how to get out of the situation. But it's almost like there's this sense of pessimism, like, you know what, nothing's going to change. And so that mindset is keeping you looping because you're not looking for ways out. So it's kind of the whole thing of, like, even when we talk about manifesting, you can't be sitting there, dumping on your situation for 23 hours and 40 minutes every day. And then, but I spent 20 minutes manifesting, so like, that's something that you have to make sure that your narrative that you're telling yourself is a better worded narrative. So even if you feel like you're stuck, rather than telling yourself, oh, I'm stuck, there's no way out of this, phrasing it, that I feel stuck, I just need to figure out how to get out of it. Because then you're putting it out there as a challenge to your mind, and the mind hates unanswered questions, so it's going to keep stewing on an unanswered question. So if you say, I don't like my situation, how can I get out of it? If if that's the mantra that you're repeating over and over in your head, I don't like my situation, how do I get out of it? It's putting your mind, even subconsciously, into fixer mode. I'll be right back. My computer's about to die. Sorry about that. My laptop almost died there. So yeah, we were looking at that for Cancer, and the card that came up was surrender. I can release my need to control. So some of this is a matter of, if there's kind of been this sense of pessimism, you do need to have this negotiation that comes in. You do need to involve other people in trying to move yourself forward, and stop resisting that positive change. So it's like you're holding on so tightly to a certain belief that you're not really seeing that maybe what you need to do is just let go of that, surrender that control, have an open and honest conversation with the other parties involved, and see where that goes, because you trying to control the situation hasn't brought you the relief that you thought it was going to. All right. Their heart isn't in it anymore. So if this is having to do with a romantic relationship, these ones really are jumping out together. That this kind of cold, cruel, like bitter type of energy, if this is a romantic relationship, it's kind of like their heart isn't in it anymore. You both know it, but nobody wants to say anything about it. And so this whole thing of like this generosity and all of that is, how can, if that is the case where their heart isn't in it anymore, you know it, but you just don't want to release the relationship because you don't know what it's going to look like on the other side, or, well, I would rather be unhappy and with this person than, I don't know, what if I end up alone, and kind of that fear of the unknown. Involving the other person in that conversation, like, in terms of the negotiation and the artistry part of it, is having an open and honest conversation about it and stop resisting the positive change. Sometimes the positive change is an end to a situation, but if it's just hurting you or leaving both people kind of uninspired, like, being done with it can be that positive change. Or, maybe there's a way to get their heart back in it, but without having those discussions, without having those conversations, it's probably not going to get there. So that was for Cancer. Now we are on to Scorpio. Let's take a look. We have our Six of Cups in reverse, the Chariot. So lots of Chariot energy here for Scorpio, and Nine of Swords. So there's a lot of stress and anxiety with this situation, whatever the one is that's leaving you feeling like you're in a rut. There's a lot of stress and anxiety about that situation, and you're kind of getting stuck and you're focused too much on the past. So if you're getting stuck because you feel like, but this is what I've always done, or maybe part of the being stuck is if it's a relationship, you keep reliving the same arguments over and over and over again. So it's kind of like, okay, you either need to forgive and release and move on from that argument, or you need to, if you can't let go of it, then you maybe need to let go of the relationship if all you're doing is stewing and circling the same issue over and over and over again. So so there is that sense of, just anxiety and stress, and it does have an element too of trauma. So maybe it was something really horrible that happened between you, but you're stewing on it. And at some point, with your Six of Cups in reverse, that is about kind of being stuck in that rut and focusing on the past, but it is also about leaving home. And so sometimes leaving home can either be physically leaving the house that you reside in, or home, if home is that warm, happy feeling, like you're leaving that, you're moving out of your comfort zone. But doubling up on Chariot energy here is that is a sense of, it's kind of that fast moving, overcoming these obstacles, like rip the Band-Aid off and just do what you need to do. Rather than continuing to let it fester, making some decision one way or the other is better than letting it just continue to fester, because with having doubled up on that Chariot energy, that's the universe's way of saying, okay, you've got to do something. You know, fish or cut bait here. You've got to do something. Like, you can't just keep sitting here in this energy. It's not helping anybody. All right. Honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. So this is kind of, you know, I think whatever this rut is that you're stuck in, and whatever this trauma is, it has to do, there's this element of honesty. So some of it is about being honest with yourself about what is it that you can expect from yourself, what is it that you can do, and, you know, just being honest with yourself about if your heart's not in it anymore, maybe it's time to be done. And that tower is protecting you. So if something happens, if it presents itself as a tower, let it happen. Don't cling to the past. Don't forcefully try to keep everything upright. Just allow it to be what it's going to be. And sometimes that's what's protecting you and allowing you to move forward, is letting everything else crumble. So that was our message for Scorpio. And last but not least is Pisces. So we have the Tower, Knight of Wands, and, the Star. So the Star is kind of that hopeful energy. You know, obviously we know what the Tower is. That's major, massive changes. Your Knight of Wands is going to be that adventurous energy. So it's kind of like the, for Aquarius, no, I'm sorry, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So for Pisces, the Tower is clearing out all this garbage for you. And it's giving you that sense of adventure and that hope and that optimism for the future. So it looks like there is a Tower coming for Pisces. Let it happen. So the two jumper cards were Fear and Loneliness. Fear. I realize that I'm testing my resolve to live in the energy of love, and loneliness, realizing that I'm never alone. So if this is a relationship that's falling apart, there is going to be some of that energy of, like, being lonely and, you know, oh, I'm trying to hold on to it because I don't want to be lonely. Oops. But then you need to be able to live in the energy of love. So if your relationship, if it's this cruel, bitter, cynical energy, that's not the energy you want to be in. So let that Tower happen so that you can live life in a happier way. So this is, things are not as bad as they seem. A lot of times the Tower, people have this sense of, oh my gosh, this is terrible, this is horrible, my life is totally ruined. But a lot of times that Tower is coming in to clear things out, to be able to build a better future, to be able to build a brighter future for you. So it's not as bad as it seems. Like, let it happen and have that faith and trust in the divine that it's happening for you for a reason. So that was the message for Pisces. That wraps up all the signs. So I hope you found today's message to be helpful. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell if you want to be alerted when new videos post to the channel. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey, and enjoy Leap Day.